Alright guys, so gonna try something I've always wanted to try. Let's see if this all-wheel drive system truly is all-wheel drive. I'm gonna throw it in first gear. You can actually see all four wheels are spinning. Alright, what's up guys? So we're here today and we're going to be doing a brake install. So we're installing R1 Concepts rotors, and I'm also going to be checking my pads while I'm down there. I'm running Glock R12s, and I've had 2 track days on this particular set. I have another set with me just in case I need to switch them out, but I think I should make it through my next competitive event, which is in August at Grid Life. So we're going to be installing the brakes, and then we're going to attempt to install gauges. And by attempt, I mean, to the left of me is John, and he brought a puppy. So we got Jameson over here. Hi, Jameson. How are you? So Jameson's probably going to distract us a lot. And anyways, we're going to go ahead and do an install and see how it goes. All right, let's jack this thing up. Yeah, you keep it. Huh? No, those are hot, you dumb dog. Look at John working his buttocks off. Lols.
I don't like working in the parking lot.
You've been spoiled by having a very hot and warm garage to work in with barely good incandescent lighting. This is why you always have power tools. They make doing everything easier. Or if you're John, you rent power tools from me. All of these are very loose. Yeah. It's okay, I only did a road trip to the mountains in them. Alright guys, so we got the wheels off and got the gloves on. Power tools help. And now we're going to start working on the rotors. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you all the tools that we need. So I got a wrench, a hole punch. I got the brake caliper spreader tool by Lang. I can do all 4 pistons on a Brembo at once. I got a 13 millimeter socket and a 18 millimeter socket. And then you also need a 19 millimeter to pull your wheels off, and there's one of the rotors. Alright guys, so we're about to do the front brake rotors. We have the R1 Concept brake rotors that we're going to be installing. I'm going to check my pads while I'm in there, and I'm going to try to see if I can do this in one take. This will probably be interesting. Anyways, what we're going to do first, I'll walk you through it real quick. We got these 2 pins right here. So you get you knock out the pins. I normally use a hammer, and there's a tool. I don't know what this tool is called, but you hit the pin and the hammer behind it. I forgot my hammer, so I'm going to be using a vice grip. And we're going to knock those out. And then on the back of here, we have a 13 mil. This 13 millimeter is going to be backed out real quick. And then this entire assembly will pop out. And then this little metal spring clip that holds the rotors still from moving left and right, we'll be able to pull that out. The next thing we're going to do is there's two 18 millimeters on the backhand side over here. Remove the two 18 millimeters and the entire caliper assembly will pop off. I'm actually got a creeper that turns into a chair. So I'm going to throw the creeper right here and it's going to be sitting and it's going to hold my caliper assembly at the time. And then I'm going to pull the rotor off. There's nothing else holding the rotor on. I'm going to swap the rotor back on and then reassemble in reverse. During this whole process, I'll have to actually push the pistons out since my rotors are pretty worn down and they've gotten a lot thinner, meaning I actually need to push the pistons back out. So to do that, all you're going to do is you're going to go to the hood, you're going to open up the brake master cylinder. That way you can have air when you're pushing the pistons out, it can flow liquid back out. And I'm going to go do that. I have a special tool made by Lang right here that can actually do all of this for us. And then that's about it. So we got the first one right here, second one right here, 13 millimeter to get this bitch off right here. Lefty loosey, yeah.
This tire is kicking off. It's going to plus 30 here. And it's running into a 30 back here. So I want no area to back.
Next, we got the impact. It's an 18 mil, set to 150 foot-pounds. You should not be 150 foot-pounds in the back, but that should break it off real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that. Power tools, and make everything fun. Alright, so now we got the caliper assembly loose. I actually need to knock this pin out. I forgot to do that. So I'm just going to hit this right through here real quick. There you go. This assembly right here just helps keep the pads down. And it's a little guide right here for the two pins that we just popped out. So that's what that is. So now we got the caliper assembly out. Let me go ahead and grab something to throw the caliper onto. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and move all this pins and stuff up here to my nice little holder that I like to call my front arrow. It can collect all my parts very nice and easily. It's super convenient. And then I'm going to move this guy. This is a creeper that I got at Walmart for like 30 bucks. It's broken, as you can see. It's missing a tire. I have it. I just can't fix it because Walmart quality. And we're going to somehow fit this underneath here. I did it on the other side. So go ahead and pull like this. My pads are about to fall out, so you may see them hit the ground. Actually, I'm able to grab them. Grab the pad. My other pad. swing this rotor off, like so. Throw this guy right under here and let the Brembo caliper sit there. So I'm looking at my my pads, and I actually may be at the squealers. I'm not 100% sure. I think that's these little circles. So I think it may actually be smart for me to switch out my pads and do a revetting. So I'm going to go ahead and switch out my front pads. So I'm rocking G-Lock brakes or Glock brakes. These are the R12 versions right here. I've been running these for my last 3 track days. They're absolutely amazing. I've never once felt fade. They can actually lock up my tires pretty tight. I just recently switched to stickier rubber though, and I haven't been able to get those to lock up. I don't think it's due to my brakes, but I think it is more of a testament to the tires having amazing grip and me having bumped up to 255s. But here they are. Ooh, they have now painted them. That's really nice if you compare them to my old ones. You can see that there's nothing really on them. So if you want to look, you can see the wear bar that I'm talking about. It's almost to it. If you compare it to the brand new OE ones, I got quite a ways to go. So we're going to go ahead and toss these pads in, and we're going to spread the caliper. So I'll show you how to do that with my laying tool. So we got this guy right here. Essentially you can turn and it just spreads out. So I'm going to ratchet it back down. We're going to flip it back into ratchet up mode. Alright, so basically with this laying tool, it's very simple to use. I'm just going to throw this caliper here so it's easy for you guys to see. I'm going to stuff it in here. Actually, I need to back it down a little. There we go. And we're going to continue backing it down to the smallest setting. And then I'm going to stuff it in between the rotors. Let's see. Like so. All right, so once I got it in here, I need to get a little bit of resistance on it, so I'm gonna hold it with my hands and then just start cranking. And now that it's actually clipping, you can see it's pretty easy. Now, before you do this, you need to make sure that you have open reservoir. Just take the cap off real quick and you can continue working. All that's gonna do is allow for, if the fluid needs to flow up a little, it'll give it room to flow so there's air for it to like actually come up, because otherwise it's in a semi-contained system. It's a little bit harder for it to move. It'll move it, but there's more likeliness for you to get air in the lines because it'll be bubbles can form. However, we're going to continue going until we get all the way. Alright, that's basically maxed out. So I'm gonna flip it on the tool to the other direction so it starts loosening. And then there we go. Just remove the tool, super easy. The next step is, let's go ahead and throw on the rotor. So this is the R1 Concepts carbon coated rotor. Basically all that does is it prevents rust on the outside portions that don't actually touch the pad. That way it keeps it looking nice. So like this silver part will always stay nice and silver. And wherever the pad makes contact, it'll actually just wear away the coating and it'll be like a normal brake pad setup or brake rotor setup. I will link to these rotors below. These, I'm basically just doing them as an upgrade since I wanted to test out the cooling performance with slotted, see if it helps a little. I often use my pads on the street, and sometimes I have glazed them over on the streets when going through the mountains and stuff like that, which I'm just like cruising. The slots should actually be able to really easily actually tear through the glaze on the brake pads and allow me to continue getting really hard bite. So let's go ahead and toss these on. All right, so now that we got the rotor on, we're gonna go ahead and do a reverse assembly on the brake system. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually see if I can remove this guy first. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to reconnect the 18mm bolts. I'm not going to tighten them. I'm not going to tighten them down all the way. However, I do want to get them on there so the brake rotor stops moving around and it's a little bit more secure. I'm going to not use an impact for this and just kind of do hand tight. Second one done. All right, so you'll notice that I mentioned that I specifically didn't tighten them down, and let me show you why. I do want a little bit of play right here so I can squeeze in the new pads. So you just slide them down like this. Make sure you don't slide them down too far because you got to get those pinholes to line up again. So I personally use this first and throw the pins through. So just so you know, the pins are going to lock in like this with this little clip right here at the end as a guide. And then these two should be touching the brake calipers themselves, or the brake pads themselves. Make sure you don't do like me and put it in backwards. Put it in the correct way. So I want you to be able to take a look at this. As you can see, the way the pins are set up, you can see that this pin is right here and it goes through. You see how these are both touching the new pads on both sides, and then the pin is like this. So you need to make sure your pin is like that to be done properly. All right guys, so we got this back in. Let's keep going. I'm gonna stuff this back in. You'll notice that this actually is not a perfect circle. So if you actually turn it as you're going through here, it'll make it easier to go through. It's by design so it doesn't fall out as easily. So we're gonna push this guy over like this, straight through, give it a little turn. More. Sometimes it needs some convincing. You know, just by convincing I mean, you know, force. So let's give this a little turn. Okay, got it turned in like that. So let's grab my 13mm again. Got that. We're gonna rescrew this 13mm back in. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and impact these back on. I have the impact set to 1, the setting 1, which is like 50 or 60 foot-pounds. And then I'm going to go back in and hand tighten them real quick until basically I can't move it anymore. That looks tight. There we go. So we're back assembled. I got my new pads in. Probably took 15 minutes with me videoing for you guys. Gonna go ahead and do the other side. We're about to go bed my brakes real quick. I'm not 100% sure what the procedure is, but as far as I remember, it's alright guys, I did a bunch of Googling and the conclusion I've come to is I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. So we're just gonna go do a bunch of 60 to basically 5 mile per hour brakes. So I'm not gonna be coming to a complete stop. I'm going to instead be doing partial stops. This will also be a good sound clip of my exhaust inside the car. The exhaust is currently set to the on position. I have a AWE switch path, which means I can actually turn the exhaust into a quieter mode. I have an option to do that. So let me go ahead and lock my remote back into place. We're gonna have to do a quick run up and down to see if there's any 5.0. I am up to temperature already, which is nice. And I'm gonna try to stay off of my brakes as much as possible, mainly because I just want to be able to do a bed in when there's no one around. So I think I'm gonna make a quick U-turn. I'm gonna slow down with my back brakes since they've already been bed in. Just pulling my e-brake a little bit. So make sure there's not too many cars around you. So I'm currently doing 60 and I'm gonna come down real quick. That was to 20. I have a bunch of stuff in the back, so that's what you're hearing. Obviously, recommendation you don't do that, but I do not have the luxury of doing that as I have to carry all my stuff with me, where I'm going to be working on the car. Alright, doing 60 again, waiting to straighten up, and then I'm going to slam on my brakes. Now, I definitely hit ABS. You don't want to hit ABS. These brakes grab extremely hard, so I'm going to try that again and see if I can do that without grabbing ABS at all. So that was down to 10 miles per hour from 60. I'm going to give that another shot. I think I finally got the threshold braking part correct, so wait for it to straighten up. So I'm going to try to do this like 8 or 9 times to get some heat into the brakes. Again, so back up at speed, and then I'm just going to come down. Back down to 10 miles per hour. Alright. Gonna do a bed in again. Make a quick U-turn. Let's try this a couple more times. ABS, which is ideal. definitely smell the brakes in the car now. All right, what's up guys, we're back. So just did my bed in. We're gonna check these out. They're actually smoking a little bit. The car is in gear, sitting on a relatively flat section, but you can take a look at how the color has changed on the rotor itself. So that coating has been basically worn off, and I'm gonna hit it with my temperature gun. I just got back in maybe like 2 minutes ago, and it looks like my rotors are at almost 600 degrees. And let's see, the pads are at like 400, it looks like 400 degrees. So yep, that's basic bed-in process. They recommend you do it on track, but I'm not gonna have the ability to go straight on track and do this. So basically just did a couple of runs on a parkway, and currently about to be hit with a blue focus. But yeah, there we go. Let's see how they're cooling. Already down to 430, still dropping. It is fluctuating, decent amount. Obviously, we only have the accuracy of a Harbor Freight tool, which, let's call it plus or minus 20%. But they seem to be cooling pretty well. Oh wow, it's a little bit hotter over here. Let's see, what are these wheels? Let's see how much that internal. Nope, all good. Whew. All right guys, so if you made it this far, I'm actually doing a giveaway, and the giveaway is going to be for a Rove dash cam. So I use Rove dash cams in my car to capture footage on track, along with GoPros and various cameras throughout my car. They make awesome dash cams, and I think I'm gonna give one away when I get to the 500 subscriber mark. All you have to do is like this video, comment dash cam in the comments, and follow me on Instagram. Do not forget to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is toys_rs. It's the same as my YouTube channel, and can't wait to see you guys in the next one.